Hello, good evening. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome in. So yeah, third time's a charm. And I think I figured out some stuff on StreamYard, so this video will stay solid all the way through. So yeah, happy spring. Happy Aries season. We're just starting into the whole new zodiacal phase around. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to this new year, this new zodiac year. And on that note, we're going to read tonight again, third chapter, The Path of Alchemy, Energetic Healing, and the World of Natural Magic by Mark Stavish. So, this chapter 3 is entitled Creating a Plant Stone. And the chapter overview is 1. Plant stones for mastering the astral worlds. 2. Several methods of making a plant stone. And 3. Sea salt and alchemy. So, a plant stone, the key to the astral world. Creating an alchemical or spagyric product is not only simple, it is also among the highest and most rewarding activities that a student of occultism can accomplish. In the creation of a stone, even in the vegetable kingdom, the symbolic balancing of the elements is the basis for its functional reality. With the harmonizing of the plant's sulfur, salt, and mercury, the herb is perfected in its potential use as a medium of etheric and astral energy. Through its effects on the etheric body and its energy, physical health and wellness can be maintained or restored. A plant stone's impact on the astral energies acts upon the subconscious of the alchemist, opening up gateways to expanded levels of consciousness. It is not uncommon, even at this stage of practice, for many students to report deeper meditative states, increased dreaming, and improved memory upon wakening. Lucid dreaming and astral projection are also possible, thereby demonstrating the subtle but profound potential of these simple herbal products. These experiences also increase aspiring alchemists' confidence in the work they are undertaking and may even energize them to pursue the more complex and dramatically rewarding work of mineral alchemy. There are many ways of making a vegetable stone, running from the simple to the complex, and each has its own advantages and drawbacks. For brevity, as well as the increased possibility of success, this chapter will outline several simple methods. Only experience will help decide which method is best for you. The effects of the stone, as suggested previously, are both spiritual and material. While physical health may be affected, the primary purpose at this stage is to open up a wider range of consciousness to the student. The stone's effects also represent, in their own fashion, a certain degree of mastery of the vegetable nature by the individual who created them. They can be a profound and powerful gateway to the astral realm, and they may take us to the doors of genuine lasting initiation into the archetypal realm, or the animal nephesh soul, which is nephesh, Nephesh, soul, in Kabbalah. The creation of all 7 planetary stones and their perfection represents a physical demonstration of the student's mastery of the lower astral, or zodiac, which is, okay, whoa. No, Cavs, good to see you, dude, welcome in. So wait. The creation of all 7 planetary stones and their perfection represents a physical demonstration of the student's mastery of the lower astral world in Kabbalah, or the zodiac world in Kabbalah. The astral world and alchemy. In Kabbalah, the universe is often described as having 4 worlds, or 4 distinct and unique ways of manifesting energy, matter, and consciousness, going from the most subtle manifestation to the dense. These 4 worlds are often overlaid on the tree of life, and in many instances, each is given its own complete tree, making for a total of 4 trees. Each tree represents the often complex relationship between energy, consciousness, and matter that have evolved, and shows how they are expressed in Kabbalistic philosophy. For our purposes, however, we will describe everything using one tree of life and overlay the worlds on top of it. For simple, practical, day-to-day purposes, this will suffice for nearly all of your Kabbalistic and alchemical operations. The world that material life takes place in is the world of action, or Asya. This includes all material form, as well as part of the etheric net that gives rise to material form. On the tree of life, this is the 10th sphere, known as Malkuth in Hebrew. Next is the astral or psychic world, known as the world of creation, or Yetzirah, which is composed of spheres 9 through 7. Yetzirah. I think that, yeah. These spheres are Yesod, which is the conscious and instinct, Had, which is intellect and reason, and Netzach, which is emotions. The world of formation, or Bria, forms the middle part of the tree and is the world of ideas and archetypal forms. Bria is composed of Tifereth, which is self and will to act or be, Geburah, I think, which is energy and action, and Chesed, which is mercy and universal love. Like where our heart is, in our chest. First of the worlds to be created, but the final one from our perspective in the mineral world, is the world of formation, or Atziluth. Atziluth is pure energy and is composed of the most abstract yet concrete of cosmic ideas. The spheres of Aziluth are Binah, first form or cosmic womb, Hakma, first seed or cosmic impulse to be, and Kether, pure being and unity. Juicy. Each sphere has a special and direct influence on spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical life that is expressed through planetary symbols. Kether is being, so it has no planet to relate to. Hakma governs the entire zodiac, and Binah is associated with Saturn, the oldest of the traditional 7 ancient planets. The remaining spheres and their planets are as follows. Chesed is Jupiter, Geburah is Mars, Tifereth is the Sun, Netzach is Venus, Had is Mercury, and Yesod is the Moon. Malkuth, or the Earth, is the recipient of all the vibrations and influences of each of these spheres, and for that reason, alchemists can find plants and minerals that relate to each of the planets. In some modern schools of Kabbalah, it is common to give planetary associations to Kether, which is Uranus, and Hakma, which is Neptune. But this is beyond the scope of plant alchemy, as these planets are generational in their astrological influence, and we cannot modify them as easily. That way, good to see you, dude. Welcome in. Happy Friday. I think this is still too hot to drink, but... Woo! Yeah, it's a bit warm. Oh my... It's like it's like drinking straight herbs. It's delicious. I mean, I guess that's exactly what it is. Okay. In Kabbalah, these 10 levels of the tree of life, Atz Kayim, are known as Sephirah, which is singular, or Sephiroth, which is plural. These levels are often encountered as spheres, so for simplicity, we will refer to them as spheres. Each sphere is a complex relationship of energy, consciousness, and matter, just as each world is. The world of Asya, or material life, is the only world that is composed of a single sphere, Malkuth. Each of the remaining 3 worlds has 3 spheres, or levels, to it, giving it 3 distinct expressions of energy, matter, and consciousness. In Kabbalah, each world is assigned an elemental quality. The world of Atziluth is called the world of fire because its energies are so pure, intense, and dynamic. The world of Bria is called the world of water because its energies give rise to form. The world of Yetzirah is called the world of air because it mediates the energies of life and consciousness in both the astral and real worlds. The world of Asya is called the world of earth because it is solid, form, and material. In alchemy, however, these worlds are experienced slightly differently, giving rise to a different set of associations. Yetzirah is called the world of water because of the intense influence its lunar forces have on water, plant life, and material growth. We will also see these lunar forces affect alchemical experiments, such as distillation and carbonation. Bria, in turn, is referred to as the world of air because archetypal forms or mental ideas give rise before their material counterparts. If you are used to working with the Kabbalistic associations, continue to do so in your Kabbalistic work. But for alchemy, it is important to adopt the new set of associations. Genevieve, welcome in. Happy Friday. Yeah, happy spring too. If you are new to Kabbalah and find these descriptions of the four worlds and all of the cross-connected associations confusing, don't worry. Simply stick to the basic astrological relationships between the herbs, days of the week, and planets, and know that the spiritual goal of plant alchemy is threefold. One, to utilize the energy bound in the matter of the real world, Asya, to purify the material body and its etheric link to the astral world, Yetzirah. Two, to open up conscious experiences in the astral world that bring emotional and psychic harmony to our being. And three, to assist in bringing mastery over our emotional and psychic nature as expressed through our psychic body, our chief mechanism of spiritual, astral, and psychic connection to the material world and the invisible worlds, and in doing so, prepare us for inner spiritual initiation. This initiation is the awakening of the inner alchemist, or in magical terms, quote, knowledge and conversation with one's holy guardian angel, end quote. Sweet. Interestingly enough, experience suggests that an alchemical product of any sort, be it a tincture or a stone, herbal or mineral, affects the alchemist who created it differently than others who may be exposed to it. The physical healing power appears most dramatically in people who played no role in making the product, whereas the spiritual effects appear strongest in the alchemist who prepared the product. The reason for this could be quite simple. The alchemist is working at a slightly higher vibrational or energetic level than the average person, and certainly higher than one who is physically ill. As a result, the alchemist enjoys better health, fewer illnesses, quicker recovery periods, and the like. The alchemist's energy is increasingly being made more subtle and being directed toward interior experiences and strengthening of the psychic centers. One who is ill, or even not ill but simply not on a spiritual or esoteric path, is operating at a lower level than the alchemist whose vibratory energies have impregnated the tincture or product that he or she has made. When non-alchemists consume the they respond to an increased level of physical consciousness because that is where they focus their attention. This almost always translates into physical or sexual energy of some kind, as energy flows from higher to lower, and for the average person, sex is the lowest common denominator of physical life. This points out a crucial point regarding alchemical privacy and ethics. 1. Hide your stuff so others don't get hurt. If consumed in bulk, alchemical products, even herbal ones, can be disruptive to the human or animal who ingests them. Besides the obvious alcohol volume involved and its high proof or purity rating, there is also the energetic component. Like homeopathic products, spagyric products should work on the etheric level, and this needs to be respected even if it is not always understood. Keep your finished products out of the way by keeping them out of sight and reach of anyone not directly involved in their creation. 2. Help people whom you know, but do not advertise as an alchemist or practitioner of the spagyric arts. All states and most countries have rules and regulations regarding the practice of medicine and the prescription of products sold for the purpose of maintaining or restoring health. While you can purchase many herbal, homeopathic, and even spagyric products over or via the internet, it is best to keep your practice a private concern, even if you are a licensed healthcare provider. The results achieved from even the simple and easy to make spagyric products described in this book are beyond the scope of the average person. If you have results with someone who then cannot be quiet about it, you run the risk of becoming known as a healer and having to spend all of your time making products rather than progressing on your path. Then the temptation to create products for sale will enter into the picture. And from this point on, your focus will be no longer alchemy, but commerce. Boom. Hey, good to see you. Welcome in, Heather. Awesome. Welcome, everybody, whenever you find it. Your path will be derailed before it has even begun. For this very reason, the Order of the Gold and Rosy Cross, the 18th German Alchemical Society, forbid its members to have their own laboratories, and instead they worked in common. While one reason for this was the expensive mineral work the members were performing, the society also made the rule to reduce members' temptation to attempt transmutations of base metals into gold in order to maintain their laboratories. Modern technology, glassware, and mineral supplies are considerably cheaper now than in the 18th century, so the of expense no longer applies. But the moral of the story is still the same. Avoid the temptation of commerce where alchemical and other spiritual matters are concerned. Do not sell the gifts of God. Boom. 3. Don't let anyone handle your products any more than you would let them handle your magical tools or implements. Once you have started an experiment, keep prying eyes and hands as far from it as possible. It is best to keep people and animals out of your laboratory or work area as much as possible, even if this means simply hanging a curtain in front of your space when you are not working. Human energy fields are powerful, both radiating and attracting energy. When a product is being made, that product is very susceptible to energetic influences. It is this very susceptible state that the alchemist seeks to take advantage of when making a product according to planetary influences and, in many instances, lunar and zodiacal influences. However, should a disruptive emotion come near the product, they may potentially be affected. That is why we wrap them in aluminum foil. Aluminum kills energetic patterns. The glass insulates the tincture from material disruption, but the foil insulates from psychic disruption. I just say it again, it just really makes me think of like foil hats. If possible, store your products or works in progress. If possible, store your products or works in progress in a cupboard or cabinet that can be locked. In many magical orders, once a student constructs and consecrates his or her magical tools, no one else, not even a superior in the order, is allowed to handle them for the same reason. The tools are charged talismans with a specific energetic signature created by the combination of their function and the vibratory signature of their creator. The same rule applies to alchemical products. That's so cool. Lunar cycles and alchemy. The effect of the moon and its monthly cycles on dreams, psychic sensitivity, and paranormal phenomena is well known. It is no surprise, then, that the moon is the most important of the 7 ancient planets in the creation of herbal products. The moon goes through 8 phases, each lasting approximately 3.5 days. These phases start with the new moon, growing in strength or waxing until they reach their apogee with the full moon, and then descending or waning toward the next new moon. So I want to point out too that there's an awesome app that you can download. It's called DAF Moon, and it shows all the planets. And but I always keep mine on the moon because I'm tracking the moon more closely than any of the other planets at all times. But it's a free app. You're welcome to donate to them. But it's a phenomenal app. and it tells you where it is in the sky and all of the technicalities of it. It's really cool. And then the other little tip that I want to share is when you look up at the moon, and if you don't happen to have like an application at hand, it'll just let you know, just to even know your own self, that when you think of a capital C, if it looks like a C in the sky, think cat. Um, and how a cat doesn't come when it's called, it's just like always running away. So when we think cat and it's going away, then we know that the moon is waning, it's losing light. And if we look at it and it looks like you see the outline of a capital D on the outside of it, like a D, or I guess backwards for y'alls, then think dog, and how a dog always comes when it's called. And then that means that the moon is gaining light, that it's coming towards us. All right. So that means that the moon is then waxing. And it makes it real easy to know just by looking up at the moon with your own eyeballs and knowledge in your head, whether or not it's waning or waxing, and where we are in the lunar cycle. Okay. But yeah, man, that DAF moon, I've been looking at the other planets a lot more now since I've been studying this book and spending a lot of my time thinking about alchemy and health. It's been a big, good week. Okay, so the first half of this cycle is considered positive for most works, while the second half is considered negative. By positive, we mean that those operations requiring additional energy are best performed during the waxing period of the moon. Those requiring extraction or release are best performed during the waning of the moon. For the practical alchemist, Kabbalist, or witch, knowing which operations to perform and which to avoid during these cycles is critical to success. First half of the lunar cycle, or the waxing period, is beneficial for 1, starting alchemical operations, 2, imbibing salt for creating plant stones, 3, performing distillation for separating the sulfur from the mercury in a tincture, and 4, enriching of the life force by alchemical or Kabbalistic means. The second half of the lunar cycle, or the waning period, is beneficial for 1, distillation of red wine to create alcohol, and 2, purification, such as calcination. These cycles impact additional actions, but these have not been listed because this book does not include their operations. In this regard, Dion Fortune states, yeah, Genevieve, I always think that too. Wax on, wax off. So Dion Fortune states, quote, "It is the light of the moon which is the stimulative factor in these etheric activities, and as the earth and moon share one etheric double, all etheric activities are at their most active when the moon is at its full. Likewise, during the dark of the moon, etheric energy is at its lowest, and unorganized forces have a tendency to rise up and give trouble. The dragon of the Qliphoth raises his multiple heads, or the dragon of the forces raises his multiple heads." And okay, so Qliphoth is spelled Qliphoth. In consequence, practical occult work is best let alone during the dark by all but experienced workers. The life-giving forces are relatively weak, and the unbalanced forces relatively strong. The results, in inexperienced hands, is chaos, end quote. While Dion Fortune was a Kabbalist and a ritual magician and not a laboratory alchemist, her words are still applicable. A careful study and review of experiments undertaken will demonstrate the close relationship between Kabbalah, astrology, and alchemy. A quick look at the Tree of Life will show that Mercury and the Moon work together in operations of magic and alchemy. The Moon, or Yesod, Yesod, gives power and connections, whereas Mercury, which is Hod, gives knowledge and skill. Together with the harmonizing and emotionally satisfying influences of Venus, which is Netzach, These three planets open up the inner worlds and bring the alchemist closer to inner awakening. In addition to its 8 cycles and 2 principal phases of waxing and waning, the moon also experiences a mini year each month as each of the signs in the zodiac pass under her influence. These zodiacal periods last about 2¼ days each and can be used in conjunction with planetary hours, as well as the waxing and waning phases, to further increase the astral influence in the creation of an alchemical product. Utilizing these cycles to their fullest benefit is the foundation of Renaissance natural magic and should be done by every aspiring student of the art. However, the ability to maximize these 2 cycles does not happen every month, and some advanced is necessary if you wish to compound these energies. The moon is in the same sign as the sun during the new moon, and it moves one sign approximately every 2¼ days. Thus, if the moon is in Aries and the sun is in Aries, then 9 days later the moon will be 4 signs ahead, or in Cancer. This is a very rough way to estimate the position of the moon in relation to the zodiac. Referencing an inexpensive astrological program, online source, or either Llewellyn's Moon Sign Book or Wicca Almanac is preferred, or Daft Moon, right? There's all kinds of applications. For example, if you were to create an herbal tincture of mercury to assist in interior work, then it would be preferable to undertake this operation on a Wednesday morning during a new moon, with the sun in Gemini or Virgo. If, however, it were not possible to wait until these signs came around, then an operation moon is waxing and in Gemini or Virgo could substitute. All right, and then we're to the next one, how to make a plant stone. Okay, one moment, I'll be right back. Woo! Boom. Oh, that feels good. How to make a plant stone. The process of making a vegetable stone is similar to that of making a spagyric tincture, as previously described. However, instead of having the option of disposing of the plant residue or salt, you must calcine it and keep it for future use in order to make a plant stone. If the salt you obtained from the plant is insufficient in volume because you did not use a large amount of herb, you may substitute sea salt. In the event that you need more salt, you can burn dry herb of the same plant used to make the tincture, reduce its ashes to a fine gray-white or white powder, and add them to the salt of the original tincture. However, be clear on this. If the tincture is lemon balm and there is insufficient salt after calcining the plant residue to begin working on a stone, you can reduce more lemon balm into an ash without having to make it into a tincture first, because it is the ash or salt you want and not the sulfur. You should not substitute other plants, as they will differ in their planetary signatures, thereby affecting the outcome of the experiment. All right, so I know I wanted to share this book too. Hey, lights, boom. This is called The Encyclopedia of Magical Ingredients, A Wiccan Guide to Spellcasting. It's by Lexa Rosian, Cosmo Girls Astrology Advisor. This has a ton of juicy information about, hey, Parawitch, good to see you. Humans Helping Humanity, welcome in. Good to meet you. But this book, it's fantastic. It's alphabetized and it just has tons of awesomeness in here. So let's see. So we've got hematite in here. The ruler is Saturn. The type is mineral. And then it has a whole like paragraph on the magical form it takes. Let's find owl, ruler, Hecate, type, bird, magical form, live, and image. Many believe that the hooting of an owl or the spying of one is a portend of the arrival of death. Witches believe that seeing an owl precedes a divine message or prophecy about the future. This message will often be of a serious nature and is usually given to offset danger. Owl candles, bells, and statues are placed on the witch's altar to symbolize the power of Hecate. They represent her wisdom. Ooh. St. John's wort, moon, herb. Magical form is powdered tincture. This herb cures depression and symptoms of PMS when taken internally, but it's not recommended for while taking birth control pills. Hey, salt, earth, mineral, magical form, coarse and fine. Oh, sprinkle black salt on doorways to keep away undesirable influences. There was a lot more. Anyways, right? I'm sure that those could be sinks for anybody right now. But that's a good book, and you can find lots of books like that online or in bookstores and stuff. Well, not like Barnes and Noble. Their world religions contain only Christian books in my the one that's close to me, which I found to be annoying. Why would you call it that? Why would you call it that? Okay. Leaching salts. Leaching of the salt may also yield greater progress in the final stages of balancing the elements. The equipment needed is a smooth, flat bottom glass or Pyrex baking dish. You need several ounces of distilled water. Distilled water can be purchased from a grocery or drugstore. You need a desk lamp or toaster oven. You need a butter knife, spatula, or other instrument to scrape the salts off the surface of the baking dish. You need salts calcined to a gray-white color, and you need a container for the salts. Leaching is accomplished by placing the salt in a thin layer on the surface of a glass or Pyrex baking dish. A moderate amount of distilled water is then added and evaporated naturally, or with the assistance of a heat lamp or toaster oven. The salt is then scraped off the container, ground, and recalcined. Experience has shown that leaching can be done in 15 to 30 minutes if the salt is finely spread out and the heat source is close by. A simple desk lamp with as low as 7.5-watt bulb will be sufficient. The sulfur and mercury, which have previously been together in the tincture, in some instances are separated into their respective aspects. Excuse me. Thus, in the creation of a stone, we have 3 separate materials that we will recombine in the alchemical laboratory. If separation of the sulfur from the mercury or essential oils from the alcohol is not possible because of equipment limitations, then they may be used together, but this may affect the quality of the stone produced. An artificial plant stone may also be made with sea salt, alcohol, and high-grade essential oils of the desired plant. Above all, it is important to note that a vegetable stone takes time to produce, in some cases up to several months, and will change in color and texture after it is created. Patience, dedication, and confidence are the needed attributes at this stage. It's cool. Method 1. Preparation is the key to success in alchemical work. Preparation of the minerals, of the place of working, and above all, of the attitude of the worker are needed. The attitude must be a mixture of humility and unswerving confidence in the ultimate success of the undertaking. An internal image and a feeling of the product into being, up to the final moment it is realized, will greatly assist in its creation. Meditate and visualize the successful completion of the work often. Remember the words of Heinrich Kuhnrath, ora et labora, or prayer and work, and the aphorism on the 14th plate of the Mutis Liber, ora, lege, 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 relege, labora et invines, or pray, read, 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 reread, work, and you will discover it. I don't know if I spoke those Latin words right, but I tried. Note the order of the directions. Prayer comes first, then reading and rereading, and finally, the material operations. While alchemists work alone or best with a mate, they do the work not for themselves only, but to assist in the relieving of pain and suffering of others. Their motive is well expressed in the motto of the Knights Templar, which comes from the 15th Psalm, and which they sang in victory: Non nobis Domine, non nobis, sed nomini, tuo da gloriam. That is, not unto us, O Lord, not unto us, but unto thy name give glory. This is ever the motto of a true alchemist. I love it. Did I? Oh my gosh, thank you. Cool. I didn't even know. Sweet. I try to go with the instinct on that. The stone. You may calcine the salt ahead of time, or you may wait until the planetary hour on the day of the ruling planet of the herb. Some alchemists find that in preparation of the salts, placing a small fine wire mesh screen over the dish used for calcining will help hold the ashes down. This is important as the finer, lighter ash will easily blow away. And it is this fine white ash that is important for the creation of a vegetable stone. A slow but safe alternative is to place small amounts of the ash in a crucible and to allow the heat from your gas stove to envelop the crucible. You will need tongs, as the crucible will grow very. So the equipment needed are plant salts finely ground and calcined to a pure white or nearly white color. You'll need a plant tincture extracted from the plant whose salts are used in the creation of a plant stone. You'll need a clean eyedropper. You'll need a small ceramic crucible and lid. You'll need crucible tongs. You'll need a heat source, which is a gas stovetop or a small handheld blowtorch. You'll need a wire triangle, preferably with ceramic insulation, to hold the crucible in place as it is heated. This can easily be made from 3 pieces of thick metal wire, such as that of a coat hanger, twisted at the ends and pressed in at the sides to hold the crucible steady. You'll need a small container for the newly created plant stone to be placed in when completed, and you'll need patience, patience, and more patience. The process. 1. Carefully read all directions times prior to undertaking the experiment. Be sure you know every step of the way. Remember, safety first. 2. If the salt is white or near white, place it in a heat-resistant dish or crucible on a low heat source. The heat may be modulated, but under no circumstances let it burn or scorch the herb. 3. Slowly, drop by drop, begin to place the tincture into the heated salt until it is completely absorbed. This is called imbibation, or imbibing the stone with life, mercury, and sulfur. Sulfur. You are, in essence, reincarnating the vegetable power of the plant. 4. Continue this process for as long as you like, or stop after 1 full hour, either planetary or secular. 5. 5. Begin again, either next week or on another day, preferably Saturday, on a planetary hour of the plant. On the planetary hour of the plant. If this is inconvenient, then begin at any hour when the work can be done. 6. Between the phases of imbibation, keep the stone in a place away from prying eyes and, if possible, sunlight, whether it be in the womb or under the earth. Many good things like to grow in the dark. 7. When the stone will accept no more liquid, place it where you can observe the changes that may take place over the next few months. 8. If possible, store the stone near a heat source, such as in an incubator or near a gas oven with a running pilot light, if one is available. 9. If the stone suddenly gels, quickly pour it out of the crucible into a thimble, as it will harden and be difficult to get out of the porcelain crucible. This hardening is desirable compared with the softer, easily consumable stones that may appear. If the stone is soft like licorice, then it may be ingested in small slivers under the tongue or with a glass of distilled water. If the stone is hard, Then place it in a glass of distilled water for several minutes so that it may transfer its power to the water, and then drink the water. If the stone is perfected, repeated immersion will not degrade or attack the stone. Otherwise, expect it to dissolve over time. It is imperative that you keep a careful record of the days, times, and phases of the moon during which the work is done. It is strongly urged that work not be done during the dark phase of the moon. New moon and full moon periods are most beneficial, as with most psychic activities or projects. Excuse me. Method 2. A low-tech way to make a stone without the use of open flame is to use an incubator while imbibing the salts over a period of 6 months to 1 year. All that you need is a 10 or 15-watt bulb placed inside of a styrofoam cooler or box. The socket and extension cord can be screwed from a standard work light found in a hardware store. These inexpensive lights have silver dishes to reflect the light and clips that allow them to be hung in a variety of locations. Simply cut a hole in the side of the styrofoam cooler. Insert the socket through the hole. Attach a washer cut from corrugated cardboard to help hold it in place, and you are done. You can also place a brick inside the incubator to hold it in place, as well as to hold the heat. Place your crucible on top of the brick and imbibe the salts during the planetary hour of its ruling planet and day. For example, if the herb used is lemon balm, the salts would have to be imbibed only once a week during the planetary hour of Jupiter on Thursday. Of course, you could imbibe the stone on additional planetary hours of Jupiter to speed up the process, but this is not required. Sea and alchemy. If salts from the plant used to make the tincture are not available, an artificial stone may be made in its place using a similar process. In place of the calcined residue, sea salt is soaked in rainwater and dried several times, being crushed with mortar and pestle between cycles. The aura and energy radiating from the hands of the alchemist are most crucial in the work. That is why during the handling salts and tincture, the attitude of the alchemist is so important. It is also why alchemists work alone, undisturbed by the inquisitive and disruptive thoughts of others. Well, it should not have to be said to someone interested in alchemical, Kabbalistic, or Hermetic work. We will state it again to drive the point home. Thoughts are real things on their way to becoming tangible in our material world. It is for this reason that we mentally wrap ourselves in a blanket or veil to psychically isolate ourselves from the disruptive psychic energy of others, and why we wrap our products in aluminum foil when they are completed. Alcohol is very susceptible to psychic vibrations, as is cold water, and both act as storage mediums for those concentrated energies. Boom! Consider this the next time you are in a bar or drinking an alcoholic beverage. In Alcoholics Anonymous, it is said that a recovering addict must avoid stinking thinking, as that is what drives them back to drinking and drugging. When you consider that many alcoholics sit and stew over what is bothering them while clutching an ice cold drink between their hands, deep in an inner contemplation of failure, anger, and self destruction, and then consume their desecrated talismans one after the other, is it any surprise that alcohol and drug abuse is so destructive to the body and soul of individuals and society? Dude. There was some other thought that I had up here. Well, it'll come back to me if it needs to. All right. Equipment needed. In addition, in addition to the equipment listed above, the following will be needed: French or Celtic sea salt and additional essential oils commercially produced matching the herb being used may be needed. If you choose not to soak the sea salt, then crush it, imagining that, like the plant salt, it is opening itself up to the creative powers of the tincture or cosmic energy and consciousness. On the appropriate planetary day and hour, begin the imbibing process with an eyedropper, first with grain alcohol until saturated, and then with essential oil. Repeat several times. The process, or repeat several times and proceed as discussed in the previous method. Modern salt refining techniques are indebted to the ancient alchemists for much of their methods. The sea and its symbols have been a rich inspiration for alchemists and mystics of all periods. It is not surprising, then, to learn that the ocean itself, the very source from which our physical bodies have risen, is also the source of much of our foodstuffs as well as potential medicines. The salty waters of Eumers, or Mother Waters, it was EAUX dash MERES, is that French? Is the basis of our plasma, amniotic water, and all of our body fluids. For this reason, only sea salt that is naturally refined and collected, i.e., organic, is suitable for this work. Salt mined from deep inland or strip mined off the beaches is alchemically polluted and will not do for this work of rejuvenation. Salt produced in the slow, natural manner contains over 84 trace minerals, many of which are absent from produced salts, and is gray-brown in color. Juicy. I remember what I was going to say. I don't know if I said this to you because this is like the third time I've been read this chapter. I try to pull everything that I said from the other ones, but we are right into spring right now, and I've been collecting spring rainwater, and I encourage you to do the same thing if you want to use the energy of 2023 that's coming down in this brand new zodiac phase that we've just started into, Aries, into spring. It's the best time to collect it so we can get all that grr. And yeah, so I don't know. It rained a couple of times, and I have maybe like this much in a giant pickle jar that I mean, like, it doesn't, it's all cleaned out and everything. Like, it doesn't even have a pickle smell anymore. It's just a glass jar. But just a little tip, because I mean, it's only spring 2023 once, so do it like you feel it. Making a plant stone from sea salt. To make an artificial plant stone from sea salt, perform all of the steps in method 1 or method 2, and in place of plant salts, use organic sea salt. Be sure to dry the salt under a lamp or in an oven at temperature before using it, as salt will absorb moisture from the air unless stored in an airtight container. Moisture in the salt will delay the process as well as inhibit the absorption of the sulfur and mercury. Take a few extra minutes to prepare your sea salt accordingly. Suggestions for study. Before engaging in any of the experiments outlined here, read and reread the material several times, keeping your notebook nearby. Outline the steps in each technique. When performing the experiments, pay attention to your notes and write down each step as you take it. Compare your working list with the master list in your notebook. This may seem trivial, but this regime will give you the habit of noting what you do as you do it. If you decide to do more complex experiments, you will have already formed the required safety and notation habits necessary for the work. Boom, that's awesome. As stated earlier, most plant work is relatively safe. If you mislabel something, you can throw it out or test it under your tongue. Metallic work is much less forgiving. Good habits formed early last a lifetime, not to mention they save a lot of work later. So, key points. Plant stones represent a higher mastery of the etheric and astral energies than do simple tinctures. And then plant stones have several levels of completion, from those that dissolve with use over time to hard pebbles that retain their form after extensive use. Then we have moon cycles exert significant influences over the various phases of the work, particularly spagyrics. Next is organic sea salt may be used as a substitute for calcined plant salts. Then we have alcohol is susceptible to psychic vibrations, particularly when cold or in a vapor state. Next, we have our attitude when working must be positive, confident, generous, and focused on the end goal or purpose of the experiment. And lastly, we have ora lege, relege, labora et invines, or pray, read, reread, work, and you will discover it. Is an important alchemical motto. I love it. Hey, Paradox Fossils, welcome in. Good to see you. We're just at the end here. So, general assignments for Chapter 3. 1. Undertake the creation of a plant stone using each of the methods described. 2. Using a calendar, the Farmer's Almanac, or Llewellyn's Moon Sign Book, or Wicca Almanac, identify the full moon and new moon periods. 3. Using the above almanacs or other astrological sources, locate the moon and what sign of the zodiac it is in currently. Locate several optimal times for creating tinctures and working on plant stones based on the information in this chapter. All right, meditation practices for Chapter 3. Lunar meditation. Perform the following meditation facing the waxing and full moon as often as possible, and preferably in or near your garden or the plants that you use for your spagyric work. I love that. All right, I'm going to take a sip and then we'll read it. One, imagine that the rays of the moon are penetrating you and that you are being transferred. You're being transformed into a lunar being. 2, imagine or sense the etheric or subtle energy of Earth and its intimate connection to the moon and its influences. The etheric energy can be imagined as bluish gray with flecks of silver, interpenetrating everything around and inside of you. 3, do this for 10 to 20 minutes at night. 4, note any impression in your journal and pay attention to your dreams and psychic impressions. Boom! Spagyric operations. Visualizing the entire operation of making a plant stone from beginning to end in perfect detail dramatically assists in making better products. Do this several times with each herb for each planet you are working with. Pay attention to whatever insights you may have about the process. 1. Review your outline of the spagyric process from making a tincture and calcining the herb to making a plant stone. Visualize the entire process being perfectly executed. Add as much detail as you can from memory. 2. Include the parts of the process you do not directly see, such as the creation of the tincture in the foil-wrapped. 3. Imagine the effects of the moon on the various phases of your work. 4. Contemplate your reasons for creating this alchemical product and think about the success that you will have when it is completed. And 5. Do this several times and note your response to the various phases. The Great Mother. Meditate on the nature of the sea and how all life as we know it came from it. Do some research on the sea and sea salt, and devise your own meditations based on the mythological and scientific information you discover. Note the importance of lunar cycles on ocean tides. Boom, we did it! We did it! And the video never cut out, so I did figure it out. Woo! Go team! I feel like you guys helped me with that. Well, dang. Okay. Plus, it's been a really big day. Going with the flow, relaxing and stuff like that. I just feel like an accomplished day, an accomplished good day. So I want to, all the moment. I feel like sharing this. When I pulled this book out, because I've had this book for over a decade, probably, well, not quite 2 decades, but Close. And I never read it front to back. I have referenced it many times, but we're changing that, right? We're remedying that situation. Well, when I pulled this out, I found this page that I had written, and I'm going to read it to you. I was just like, I like it. I was like, wow, I wrote that? Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And it seems to be like right in line with where I am in my head and this whole health journey and like expanding life, all of you. So it says, today, Friday, January 8th, 2002, I, Allie Berry, will begin to practice healthier lifestyle habits, and I will make the following commitments. I will give to myself as I give to others. I will value my health as I value the health of my loved ones. I won't ask, should I or shouldn't I, about matters of self-care. I will just do it. I humbly accept that I must work to be the best that I can be. I choose to work for myself rather than abandon myself. I will take responsibility for my lifestyle behaviors, and I commit to practicing them with patience and consistency. And I will embrace adversity as an opportunity to test my newfound mental strength. So yeah, claim it, y'all, if you feel it. And I will not be back tomorrow. I have a show tomorrow with Corey. So we'll see what shakes. I'm back on Sunday. I might not, but I will be back come the new week. So thank you again. And thank you, StreamYard. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, my family. Thank you, my friends. Thank you, God and Spirit and guides. And yeah, y'all, take care of yourselves and do it like you feel it. Mwah! I see you so soon.